friends, welcome back to the FPV Academy, episode number 6. Today we're building a whoop, and this morning I've spent some extra time to decorate the studio in Photoshop. I hope you like it, and as usual I've brought a guest along. Let me pop him up here on the screen and make some welcome noise for you. I hope that wasn't too loud. Welcome back, Travis. I'm glad to have you here again. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. I'm excited about what we're going to try to pull off today. Yeah, well, for me, it's what I'm going to try to pull off today and build a whoop in an hour.
Okay, let's see how that works out for you. So what we have planned for today is we are looping back to the beginning to topic number 1 in this series of videos, is to the actual flying thing, how to build a copter, how to build a whoop, because, well, that's what both of us enjoy building the most, and that's what I think is probably the most built RC craft on the planet, and probably that RC craft that has the most options how we can build it. So it's not a secret anymore how to do that. Every related YouTube channel has at least done a couple of how-to videos to build a whoop. So we're just going to show you 2 different approaches today how to build one. Actually, there was a third approach planned, but unfortunately, Michael, aka Monty FPV, couldn't make it today because, well, you know, life got in the way of having fun. So yeah, it's just us 2 today. So what we're going to do today is build a whoop each and then give it away to some lucky viewer if it survives. So, you know, for you, Travis, if you manage to build it at all, and for me, because I'm going to be super quick in building that thing, if it survives, because I'm going to send it out into the jungle before I'm giving it away. And I hope I get it back within 2 or 3 minutes. And if I do, and if you manage, or you over there, if you manage to build it, then we give it away to 1 lucky viewer each. How you can get your hands on them, if they make it, if they survive, we're going to tell you that at the end of the video. So as usual, you can participate and ask questions, have fun with us in the various chat rooms. So we have the, no, that's not it. It's on Chrome. Here it's already getting busy. Bock FPV, James, Rubble Motorsports, Rubble Motorsports asking, where's the chat at? It's right here, my friend. You're already on there. So what you're currently seeing on the screen, that's the YouTube chat. You can hop on there and chat over there. Christopher Potts is back as well. And you can also join the eternal Discord chat, which has already gotten busy as well. So the advantage of the Discord chat is that it will survive the stream. So you can keep chatting there and you can see the history of the chat of all the previous episodes that we have done so far. JT Walker just joined here. Welcome, buddy. Glad to have you again. So you can join both of these chats, and we're going to pick up questions and comments during the show. So, Travis, let's get into this. As I said, my build is going to be super simple. I have the parts here, and I also do have a camera set up. Let me see if that works. Over here to show you the parts. So my approach is going to be as simple as possible. I do have a frame, I do have propellers, I do have a couple of motors here, and I do have a plug and play camera and flight controller. So the only thing I need to do is to screw and plug the stuff together. I do have my my geeky automatic screwdriver here to make this even simpler. So before you even finished listing up all the stuff you're going to use to build this thing, I'm going to have this thing together probably. So that's why I give you a little head start while I'm already twisting up my motor wires, so you can tell us what your plan is for today. Go for it.
Oh boy. Well, as we mentioned in one of our previous videos in this series, I'm more of a builder collector than anything. So I've spent the last couple years trying to perfect the process of complicating everything. And yeah, not so much complicating, but I enjoy I enjoy this so much that I wanted there to be more to do. So it wasn't enough for me to plug a few things together. I wanted to get into designing my own canopies and vacuum forming my own canopies, writing firmware, and designing flight controllers. And I wanted my hands on every part of the piece. So on my bench, I have my soldering iron, a canopy, screwdriver, camera mount, assistive eyewear so I can see these tiny things, flux, my flight controller, double-sided tape, hobby knife, wiring, a frame, motors, a receiver, scissors, glue gun, camera. I've covered most of an 8-foot bench. And are you done? Did you already finish?
Holy moly!
No?
So yeah, you probably can't hear this. I do have this soundboard set up which makes funny comments on what you're saying. You can't hear it, which maybe is even funnier. So just always imagine whenever you say something, then a funny cartoon voice is saying, "Holy moly!" or well, I have a few others, but yeah. So we got to extend on this, guys. Make some comments if this stuff is too loud because I'm not monitoring the audio. And if you think it's too annoying, then I'll just stop doing it. But if you like it, then the soundboard will get more options in the next couple of streams. And maybe I also managed to pipe this into the video output as well, so that this way Travis doesn't feel so alone by being the only one who doesn't hear my funny audio background. So yeah, please keep going on. I'm already halfway through the build.
Okay, well, with that, I think I'm going to cut to my build camera and dive in because I only have 50 minutes left.
Okay.
I've never timed this before. I usually just draw out the process and enjoy it. But yeah, today I'm going to build, to give some details about my build, I'm going to use the Alien Loop Zero. I'm going to build it out with an FR Sky XM receiver. I've got is this a turbo wing? Yeah, a
Turbo wing camera. That's the one that records.
Turbo wing camera that's pre-split. At least I'm not splitting my own camera. We have split cameras now. This is 2018.
So is it recording? Is that the one that records on board as well?
No. This is just it's just a regular 25 milliwatt camera. Nothing fancy. Just split camera and VTX. And the camera itself has really good color reproduction, so I enjoy flying with it. So yeah, cockroach frames, 617, 20,000 kV awesome sauce motors, and EA props. And that's my rig.
Cool. So yeah, before you get into this, let me just go a little more in detail over the parts that I'm using. So I have, suited to the occasion, a green frame and red propellers. So the frame is the Beta 65S frame version 3 with the low battery mount and the extra reinforcement. So it's a little heavier than other frames, maybe half a gram of that nature. It has 7x16 millimeter motor mounts because that's my favorite motor size. There's CL 716 17,000 kV motors in there, and I'm using the red E-Sheen props that I've just harvested off another build because I've ran out of red props for some reason. So then I'm using the Beta FPV F4 flight controller with integrated FR Sky receiver with OSD and telemetry on board, and also since the latest revision they have this little 5-pin connector thing on here. It's pretty hard to see on camera, but if I hold it like this, you can see it just there behind the antenna and in front of my fingernail, sticking up on top, which connects to the 5 pins here, which are also pretty hard to see on camera, on the VTX. So you just have to pop this thing on, and it does have the ground and power and video in, video out, and the S audio connection, so you can configure the VTX from the flight controller. And if you flash the right firmware with the right default settings on there, then it automatically configures the power output and the channel of the VTX. So this VTX can transmit with 25 and 200 milliwatts, and it also does have a pit mode, which reduces the power output to something very small, which is, I think, the main complaint that people have about this thing. Whenever I see someone saying on Reddit, I have one of the new Beta FPV quads and the video is shit, that's usually because it's in pit mode. So you can change these settings also by pressing the button there in the middle, but you can configure all that stuff over the OSD as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I'm using a standard Beta FPV canopy, which unfortunately I only have a blue one. I would have liked to use a red one for today, but yeah, it's going to be blue, and I haven't made it myself. I bought it for $1 or less, I believe. So far my parts, I've already seen that you've put some very blurry parts up there on the screen, Travis.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
The quality of my camera, but you know, at least it shows sort of what I'm doing.
Okay, so I see some solder already, and I see just from the shape the very unique, never seen before, never heard before, Alien Whoop Zero, probably the smallest and lightest Whoop flight controller out there. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, the approach of the Alien Whoop Zero is it's just geared towards flying. Like, you know, you mentioned kind of the feature-rich approach that you're taking and a simplistic approach, and this is geared just towards all-out performance. So it's already tuned, it's already, you know, just ready to get out there and rip in acro or rip in angle mode and race. And we intentionally wanted to come out with this first revision with an external receiver because, you know, sometimes range is kind of a limiting factor in the built-in receiver boards. So we just wanted just a really robust system for racing. And essentially what we did is we weren't really going into it to design a storm the market product. We just built the flight controller that we wanted to fly as a team. And this is what was created. So we had a lot of fun doing it. You know, and it's just an absolute blast to fly something that, you know, you were part of a team that designed. So, but I better quit talking and start soldering because the clock is ticking. I'm down to 45 minutes and I haven't even, well, my iron is hot. All right.
So what do you need to solder? What are you putting on first?
Well, I'm starting off. This is a little bit out of the norm for me. It's not my normal build space. So, but what I'm starting with is adding the external receiver to the flight controller. So I'm tinning up a few wires, and I'm going to trim them to length, and then add those wires to the receiver and to the flight controller. And that will be step one, is getting my board in the equivalent condition that yours comes in out of the box, which is with its receiver already ready to go.
Yeah, I really don't like soldering and potentially smoking up receivers or finding out that they don't work and then having to muck around with them to make them work at all on the flight controller. So I'm a big fan of integrated receivers. So
Well, when you
yeah.
say move around with making them work, like, are you talking about the settings and whatnot, or?
Yeah, and also, for example, one of the issues with an external receiver in many cases is that um, that you need to find the little button that's on there to press it while you're powering on the flight controller in order to make it bind, or sometimes even worse, you need to flash a specific setting onto the flight controller to then make it bind. So
Well, you raise a very good point there. So, when you're dealing with external receivers, you have some additional things that you kind of have to have straight. And especially like with FR Sky, there's different firmware versions on some of the receivers, and then you've got your settings and configurations. Like, for example, with your build in Betaflight, where that stuff has to be set up. But it's a little bit simpler on the Zero because it's pre-configured to accept a certain receiver type. So once I solder this receiver on, and I do have to push the little bind button, I'll be ready to go. Like, this will be all set up because I already have a model in my radio that's configured properly to fly it. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I personally do prefer flying DSMX or the baying toy protocol, especially the baying protocol, because it's an incredibly low latency setup, but that's an even more complicated build, so I'm not going to get into that. But with DSMX, it's a simpler bind process. There's not usually the little button. It's handled by the firmware. So, but since we're giving this away, I know most people out there are flying FR Sky, so I figured I'd put an FR Sky setup together. That's my holiday cheer.
your holiday cheer. Hang on, I have something for that.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Yeah, so while you're doing this, I'm about to pop my camera onto the flight controller. The only thing that, this all has not been, nothing of that has been designed by me, although I like to tell myself that it's been a little bit influenced by me by constantly complaining about the better FPV stuff in a, I would say, quite constructive manner. So they have taken on board a lot of the comments that that members of the community made and changed things around. And one of the things that I always wanted to make this all easier and be able to take this to different, simpler audiences is that there's no soldering required anymore, because yeah, soldering is like voodoo for a lot of people outside of the hobby, and a big hurdle to enter the hobby. So, and yeah, they've finally done this. However, there's one little flaw in this thing, which it's hard to see, but when I hold it like this, you can see that the front screw hole is kind of covered by the camera, so you can't screw the front screw in there that easily. I usually just leave it away for my builds, because 3 screws are enough to keep stuff together that's meant to be screwed together with 4 screws. However, because we're giving this away, oh, battery finished charging, very nice. I'm almost done, by the way. I'm gonna put the extra 4 screw in with a other fine screwdriver to make it extra nice. But yeah, that's probably one of the most difficult parts of the build, that you align this thing exactly and push it on without bending or breaking any of these little pins here. So where you at, Travis? I see you're still fumbling around with little wires.
Yeah, so I guess since part of the purpose of this series is to help beginners sort their way through, and since I'm soldering, you may have noticed I pre-tinned all my pads and I pre-tinned my wires before I started connecting things. And I also, after I pre-tinned, I use a little bit of flux, and then it just takes a touch of the iron, and the flux does its job, and you get a nice solder joint. So you don't have to be in contact with the board or worry about overheating parts when you're using flux. I guess what I'm going to do, they said I'm building in a new place, so I feel a little disorganized. I'm going to stick a little piece of sticky tape down so the thing sits still while I solder them. But I'm soldering at, I don't know how accurate any of these irons are, but anywhere from 340 to 360 degrees. I try to keep it closer to 340. And I'm going to connect these wires in between the receiver and the flight controller. There's 3 wires: power, ground, and signal.
Oh no, I made a mistake. I already put those screws in, which I still need to put in afterwards to screw on the canopy. So I just went off screen to use my different screwdriver to put in the front screw, which I already did. Now I got to remove the 2 side screws in order to put the canopy on. So maybe I should test before I put the canopy in that it's on the right channel. So before I move on with that, let's take a little break in here to see what's happening in the chat room. So I didn't put up the chat room on this pause. I don't hear myself. Top chat, pop out the chat. Popping out. Nothing to see here. We popped out. So close this one again. And oops, no, make it big. Oh, here we go. Close on this one. So Pilsner Popper says the new Beta FPV frame are simply the strongest. I would agree with that. They certainly listened to us saying we don't want them to break all the time, and they kept making revision after revision. Version 4 is a little lighter again. I don't have any of those yet, but they should arrive this week or next. I want to see which gets more fight time, says James. The original Ductrix frame, lighter and plenty strong. Really, Justin? I think the original Ductrix frame is just ridiculously weak. They need at least as much weight in glue as they have in original plastic. So, yeah, exactly. Pilsner Popper says, I break original Ductrix frames just by looking at them. Yeah, so I broke some of them just taking them out of the box. So, Justin Shrek says, E6000, and they're amazing. I guess, Justin, that's some sort of a glue. So isn't solving the problems half the fun? Yeah, you know, there's different approaches to it. Some people just want to fly. Some people are enjoying all the fiddling. I think even with a solid frame, there's still enough potential for breaking things and fiddling with it. So Perry Earl also um, enjoys dealing with tiny solder pads. And who sells the flux Travis is using? Is Christopher Potts asking. So tell us, Travis,
Ah,
what are you
this
using?
is this is what we refer to as magic flux, and you won't be able to see, um, you won't be able to read it, but this is MG Chemicals, no clean flux paste, and this stuff is absolutely amazing. It will turn you from a novice to an expert solderer with a tiny drip.
So if you can pop a link in the chat room. I'm currently looking at. Oh, hang on, I need to go upstairs and find my RF Explorer to confirm what channel I'm on before I put the canopy on. But thanks to I forgot what it's called, what transmission I'm using for this. The audio stays with you, my friends. So digging out my RF Explorer, using this thing daily to check my builds and to find my quads. So I recently bought a bulk load of these RF Explorers. They're all sold already. I have one left though. So if one of you wants to have a RF Explorer 6G combo version, comes as opposed to the base model, has an extra module in there that supports 15 to 2700 megahertz, and it comes with a bonus like pseudo leather case in there. Yeah, so if you want to have one of those, send me a message. Currently, I'm checking if I'm on the right frequency. No, I'm not. So good that I'm checking. I want to be on 5740 because that's what my receiver that I plan to use later on in the hour is set to. Oh no, I went past it. So yeah, on most of these cameras, even though we now have LEDs to show the channels and the bands, it's not that it's a straightforward process to select the right channel. So this is now band 1, channel 1, but it's actually LED number 4 and LED number 1. And then it shows you that it's on 5740. Very nice. So I can now turn this thing on and close the lid. So what you doing, Travis?
Well, I just hunted down a toothbrush and some alcohol to clean my flux back off after I was done soldering. It is a no clean flux and doesn't have to be clean, but some of us just enjoy that extra step. My entire process is all about the extra step.
Okay.
But I did that so that I can get a good bond with a little piece of double-sided tape between my receiver and the bottom of my flight controller. And that is where my receiver is going to live, so that the lucky recipient of this Alien Loop 0 will be able to easily push the fiddly little button.
All right.
All right, so that is set. And I noticed you put motors first in your frame when you started off.
Yep.
But I am going to start by building the core, my little center pod area. Is there any particular reason you go motors first?
No, this is just, it doesn't really matter for me.
Yeah.
Can go either way. That's just how I usually do it. So no, can do it the other order as well. If the flight controller goes on first or the motors go on first, really doesn't matter. Gotta stick the electronics on and the motors and propellers on and then plug it together. So no, it really doesn't matter.
So now I'm knocking the little standoff nubs out of the bottom of these motor cans on this cockroach frame, because as I mentioned, I'll be using the longer can 6mm motors. And I find that one of the less enjoyable of the fiddly tasks. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad if I had a sharper knife. If you are considering 615 versus 617, frame selection is important. You have to make sure you get a frame that accommodates the longer motors.
Yeah, as far as I know, the cockroach frame is the only one which is doing that, and also I think just sort of by accident. So yeah, none of the other frames is actually supporting this properly, even though you can get away with some of them, but yeah, it sits the propeller 2mm higher. So as opposed to just cutting off the nuptials on the frame, if you don't have that, you can just use a regular frame and then shave off a little bit of the bottom of the propellers to make them sit a little lower so that they still sit within the ducts, because as we have figured out a while ago, these ducts actually add some efficiency. So
yeah, you
exactly.
did a video where they gave what, like 3 grams of thrust, 3 or 4 grams of thrust?
Something like that, yeah. I actually wanted to make the video to prove that there's no point in doing this, and then I was looking at the results and said, okay, I'm gonna change the tune of the video and say it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, exactly, Madman, as you're saying. I really like motors, so that's why I'm starting with the base, I'm starting with the motors. So yeah, Travis, I'm pretty much done here. So the only thing I now still need to do is to somehow make the wiring a little neater. So instead of to make the wiring not so messy, the first thing I like to do is twist up the wires really tight, and then when they are plugged in, I'm using one of my surgery tools here. Where is one of them? To tuck the wires under the frame in here. So that's pretty difficult to do if you have fat fingers. So it's even more difficult when you're trying to do this on camera. So on these, that's one of the reasons why I like these better FPV frames. It's tough to see on camera, but here's a couple of little plastic tabs and then a third one at the end of the duct that you can use to lock the wires in so they don't fly around here. And then I use my surgery tool here to push the wires underneath the battery compartment so they are out of the way. So yeah, a while ago, a friend of mine who at this point didn't have to do anything with quads has seen me fiddling around with these little wires, and he said, you know what, I'm working in a hospital, how about I bring you some tools? So he has pocketed a whole bunch of different tools, and since this is here one of my essential tools to build little quads. It's in case you don't have one of them, in case you don't have seen one of them yet, they're called forceps, mini micro curved 12.5 centimeter forceps. So I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, But yeah, so you have some of those,
Forceps
Travis?
and tweezers are excellent. I mean, excellent kit to have around. I'm kind of doing the same thing with prep work on my end here. I cut out the center brace of my frame, and actually, look at that. So now I got to grab another frame. I cut the frame in the process of cutting the center brace out. So.
Oh, you destroyed it?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh
So this is
no.
part of the fiddly process.
Well, I assume you have some decent stock on frames?
Yeah, I've got a box. Next victim. So I do quite a few mods to the frame. I'm cutting the center brace out to make room for my receiver, and I completely take out the back post and intentionally only mount on 3 as opposed to 4 because I find one of the being a techie guy, one of the recommendations from the gyro manufacturers is that IMU devices and gyro devices perform best when mounted on 3 points instead of 4.
What?
3 points are always on the same plane. And when you add a 4th point, you have the opportunity to create a plane of geometry between 3 points and a 4th plane that is off of that. And that can lead to excessive vibrations and harmonics and all sorts of weird things that gyros are sensitive to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So now when I communicate stuff like this, these are just fun facts that I enjoy knowing because I read data sheets, but they're really not things that most people would ever notice or are relevant. They're just, eccentricities that I would say in my own process.
Okay.
But after reading that, I've always cut off the 4th mounting point.
All right. To be honest, I can't really follow that logic yet, but I'm keen to think a little bit about it to have that making sense for me as well. So I'm done now. I've put this thing together already, and I've done some little bit of prep work before the show. So I have flashed the flight controller and bound it to my transmitter. So I should be ready to go. So I leave you a little bit of time to catch up, Travis, and have a little look in the various chat rooms. We're already at minute 37, my friend. So where's Discord? Up here.
Woo. I'm running short on time, huh?
So Madman is talking about the Venturi effect. One of the effects of the Venturi effect is that the fans or propellers need to be as close as possible to the inside of the duct for the maximum efficiency. Yeah, that kind of has to do, when I remember correctly, with the air pushing around the prop and not being pushed down, but kind of going like a little vortex from the tip bottom to the tip top again. So, and exactly as you say, Madman, Bruce, aka RC Model Reviews, has some excellent long videos as usual on his channel. So yeah, in case you haven't checked out RC Model Reviews yet, head over there, have a look at what he's doing. Lots of good information from our friend across the ditch. So let's see what else is happening here in the YouTube chat up in the YouTube chat. Rob Howard has come in. Hey, Benedict and Travis, he says, Micro Pinch Pilot here. Welcome, buddy. Glad to see you here. Snooks Oleg, FPV is back, saying, hey, how yo? He ordered a Beta 65 frame. Those with 7mm motors. Yeah, that's getting usable as well, since we have a little faster 7mm motors now. Rob Howard is fiddling more than he's flying. Carcos X FPV says, Travis is the best man in Earth, NFE Master, and Dr. Whoop. Thanks, man.
That's an exaggeration.
Flux is legit, says Rubble Rotor Sports. Jesse Walker says Amazon has the Flux MG chemicals, and Christopher Potts ordered it straight away. That's how we roll. So Charger Dude 70 is just coming in late to the party. What's up, my friend? Foreskin? What about foreskin? The link to buy the forceps, Rob wants that. I do have them on my web shop, my friend. I bought a whole bunch of them because I couldn't find them on eBay anymore. So I bought them off some Korean hospital, I think. They were pretty affordable and good quality. So you can go to micromotorwarehouse.com and put in forceps and you'll find them. So what time is it there, says Stevie B. Steve, this year I'm broadcasting from the east coast of Australia. It's currently 12:41 p.m. here, and the midst of summer. And Travis, tell us where you are.
I am in sunny Florida, where it's summer year-round, but 8 p.m. or between 8 and 9 here.
All right. In the middle of winter, but still you have some pleasant weather, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, it was probably like 85 degrees today.
Okay. I don't know what that is. For me, that sounds really hot.
Oh yeah, I measure degrees in freedom units. That's right. What is that? Like maybe I don't even know what that is in the language the rest of the world.
I don't know either. For us, it was yesterday really hot, and it was like 36 degrees Celsius, I believe. That felt pretty hot. Today, it's kind of back to normal, somewhere between 28, 29 or something. Florida in the house, says Perry Earl. So Christopher Potts is asking me what I flashed on my build. So I have flashed on this F4 flight controller. I have flashed Betaflight 3.5.3, I think, whatever the latest stable is, even though I've already tested successfully a couple of different development versions of Betaflight 4.0. This one here has gotten the latest stable version. So yeah, that's what I'm using mostly. I don't see much of a difference to 4.0, but yeah, you know, I'm mainly interested in getting it slapped together as quickly as possible, as reliable as possible, and at the end having the most features on it. So yeah, as I said before, this supports OSD and telemetry in combination. Previously, the F3 boards could do either or because of resource limitations, but this now has enough resources to do both at the same time, so you can get the RSSI and the voltage displaying on your transmitter, and you can also get the RSSI value on the OSD, which I find quite useful to be able to judge your range properly. JT Walk says, the hotter, the better. Yeah, I like it nice and warm. So, but not so humid. So above 80, 90% humidity, I kind of start to feel sticky. So yeah, 60% humidity and 30 degrees Celsius. That's a good spot for me to be, and that's how it is most of the year around here. So in Australia, we have around 362 something days of flying weather per year. Today, it's nice and almost wind still, and yeah, I think I'm short of to get some flying in, show you some of the jungle around here, and hope to get it back so you can win it. So, Travis, you got to hurry up. I'm already about to set up my my flying setup here. So I'll go outside and turn on the receiver and video converter that I've already prepared here. Running off an external battery here, I have set up one of my clear receivers with a analog to digital converter, which is taking the signal and then feeding it into my mixer here. So when I power this little thing over here, let's charge another battery. Optimistically, charging up one more. So when I power this up here, it should, but it doesn't. Oh, it does.
I'm taking some extra aesthetic steps here. I've got all my fancy stuff up that I got from film before. And I could bolt this together. I mean, I've got my camera on for now right here. I'm going to reinforce it with a little bit of hot glue just so it's stable. I want whoever's getting this to just never really have to worry about anything. I'm going to lock it in the camera with a little bit of hot glue. And I still haven't shoved the motors in. But aside from shoving some motors in and bolting it down, it's pretty close, ready to fly. The rest of what I do is just do that pinching detail to make it just the way I want it to be.
I might use these cables Oh, people are complaining in the chat. That there's crazy audio, and lots of holy static Batman. Turn the whoop audio off. Yeah, typical flaws of
Was
live
that your
streaming.
FPV static?
I assume I just blasted the internet audience with static. We're all hearing a loud noise. I apologize for everyone whose cat's been jumping out of the room, whose headphones I have destroyed, and whatever else I did. So let there be sound, says first person Q. I don't know why that happened, but yeah, I hope it's fixed now, and I'm about to fix the OSD. Let's see how this looks now. No, didn't work. So yeah, apologies for the sound. So the whole past couple of minutes, including my flight commentary, have been drained by static. That was not
Very nice.
not very nice. No, sorry. Why did it not take all my OSD settings? So better flight OSD settings. Come to me. Come to me. Copy. CLI. Paste. And save. Very important. Whenever you post something into the CLI, type save afterwards. Connecting. Connect. Go to the OSD. Now it looks a little different. And then the only thing that you can't do by flashing the right sketch or the right firmware and then uploading a CLI dump is the font. I like to have big fat font. In the latest version they have a font called Vision. I like that. I'm uploading that. Charger Dude needs more static. I think you are kind of by yourself with that request, Charger Dude. So first person Q needs more soundboard. My selection of sounds on the soundboard is limited so far, but to give you another small one.
Holy moly!
So yeah, you know, the more comments I read about the soundboard, the more I'm motivated to go nuts and add more silly stuff to it. So the flight commentary and Travis update were eaten by static. So let's try this again. I have now updated my OSD settings. I do have another charged battery, and I'm going to focus to not crash this thing into the jungle. So switch over to the flight cam, turn Travis Bench off. So see, this is the Vision font. The Clearview has logged in yet, but there's a lot of static because I don't turn off my, oh, this looks pretty bad. let's check if I have set it to, no, this is here, 25 milliwatts, yeah, that's good enough. Looks like it's in pit mode. Some issues, lots of visual static. I hope that satisfies you, Charger Dude. Let's see if it's getting better when I start flying. Exit. So here, more flight commentary. Into the jungle. Oops. Let's see if we can find some birds. No birds down here. It's lunchtime. They're all resting somewhere. So try and really fly careful not to crash. I have lots of little hoops here under the house, but I'm not flying through too many of them because that's where we usually crash. So here, looking through the window, see if I can see myself. This is the back of my setup here. Too mirrory. Here's the receiver. So close to reception is best. Yeah, pretty unconventional setup. One linear, one circular antenna. Not that it would make sense, but that's what we currently have on here. So yeah, it flies. So you can see my control setup. That's the monitor I'm currently flying off. And just above there, that's the little camera that shows you most of what you see on this setup. Landing right on my desk here. So, and switching back to the main camera, turning my ornaments back on and bringing up Travis Bench. Still fiddling, my friend. I hope this flight was without static and you could hear my commentary over it. So,
Well,
yeah, Sean, I have not lost it. So there's your chance coming up to win it. We have, oh no, Travis, the hour is over. We should have been done by now. We are not. So
I didn't finish. I'm putting motors in now. So
okay.
I didn't have to push the fiddly bind button.
Okay.
So we're going to call this close enough to, I'll finish this out and it'll still be close enough to finishing it within the show for a giveaway. So this one will head out to a lucky recipient. We should talk about, now that we're at the end of the show, let's discuss the rules for how to win the giveaway. Are we still planning the random comment picker?
I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. Exactly. So
What I'll do, let me hop back over.
yeah, so the way we plan to do this is, as it's been, oh yeah, Mr. Doctor, looking cool. So,
I'll keep working here. So yeah, so after the live stream closes, then it'll be comments just like any other regular YouTube video. And the rules for most of these comment-based giveaways are 1 comment per person. Of course, we ask you to like and subscribe, and then we use a random comment picker. And if you are, do you want to make it if you are subscribed thing? Is this leverage for subscribers for you, Dr. B?
Sorry, I don't understand the question. What do you mean?
Well, most of the giveaways, they ask you to be subscribed to the channel. So do you want them to subscribe to your channel?
You know, I kind of think that everyone is smart enough to make the decision himself if he wants to subscribe or not. So I'm not going to be standing here and begging for subscribers. But
Yeah.
you know, to enter the giveaway, you need to comment on this video, just to give us some sort of a chance that you you know, to see your participation and to pick a winner. So what we're going to do
One
is,
comment per person.
I mean, well, yeah, I kind of probably get.
Because it's a random picker. That makes it fair. You know,
Yeah, otherwise I would get pretty messy. So one comment per person, and because this is a live video, there's two versions of the video on YouTube. One, it's currently on when it's streaming live, and then once we press the stop button, this after an hour or so, it'll get converted into a regular YouTube video. So if you're watching this live, don't go nuts just yet. Wait until the rendered version of the video is out on YouTube, and then go to the regular comment section, not the chat, and post a comment there. You know, ideally make it something useful. Give us some comments and some feedback. Tell us what you like and what you don't like on this format, and then we'll use just before the next show, so just within a week, we'll use the random comment picker and pick two winners, and then we're going to contact you and ask you for your address in order to send this one here, you know, because it survived, and potentially Travis Whoop if he manages to finish it within a week. I gotta admit though, yours looks way cooler with the Mohawk. I like that.
I just have to plug the motors in and slap some props on, and it's ready to fly. So I was close.
Yeah. So a couple of more questions and comments here in the chat room. So what are we gonna have here? So Daniel says he already subscribed. He wants the whoop now. So Snap FPV quickly retracted his message. I didn't see what it was, Snap. So Rob Howard wants to understand why the static happened earlier. Well, that's just an issue in my mixer here. I didn't turn off the static for the sound for that particular channel, and it was just so loud that it drained out everything else. I believe my sound was still on, but it was just drained out by the massive static that's coming from this transmitter here, which doesn't transmit any audio, so it's just static. So Charger Dude has an electric personality, says Frank Barayas, statically speaking. Any recommendation on bind and fly that's durable and has good flight time? Bind and flies. Yeah, recently I started to like the Beta FPV bind and flies. So in terms of flight time, the brushed ones are still better than the brushless ones. So a Beta 65S or Beta 65S Lite, which costs around half that, that they both run on 7x60mm motors, so they have some decent flight time. Rob Howard is relieved there was no static this time. Frank says the trouble with your backyard isn't the walk of shame when you crash, it's the hike and hunt to find the whoop. Most of us would kill to fly my backyard. Yeah, I'm planning to make some events to actually invite a couple of friends over to allow them to fly my backyard. So
get it in one of the simulators. Like there should be a rotor rush course on your.
Yeah, I like that. So in terms of finding stuff in my yard, that's one of the reasons. Explorer and how you collect the knowledge of find things in my yard. And I have plenty of occasions where stuff can start, for instance, somewhere where I really have no clue the yard or find it. last week to go out and cut out the pieces. And yeah, you can I have them all. No wood testing left yet. No! Static is back. Sorry, dudes. I don't know why this happens. I have no idea why it's coming back again. But yeah, thanks for pointing it out. I hope I was quick enough. Wash those eardrums. Sorry, guys. Your own fault for sticking around for so long.
Two props left to go.
2 props left to go. I should find some sounds for some negative sounds to complain. So I'm using audio blocks to create my soundboard. So maybe I have some oh no sounds. Oh no.
In FE.
Oh no. No, this is not good.
Oh.
No, still not good. Okay, I think I need a little more time to pick up the right sounds. Yes, Snap FPV, we're not doing this manually. We are leaving it to the random comment picker to pick a winner. Everyone who's still in here and listened to the rules, good on ya. Pilsner Papa jumped out of his chair again. No, I didn't mess with you intentionally, first person Q, but I agree, it's been messing with you, and I'm glad I didn't hear it. So broke the mixer again, exactly. So let's see if there's any other funny comments to pick out from the Discord chat. Oh, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check out the chat. I've been in build land, and now I'm done. All I have to do is push the magic fiddly button.
Okay. So do we still have a chance to see it fly today, Travis? We're already way over time, and there's
yeah, I'm fine. Let me grab a transmitter and I'll push the button and we'll send it.
so
I wonder if I should I'm sure most of you guys out there, right? Like you can just ask your wife to like come push the bind button for you. Is that a thing, right? Your wife do that?
I was thinking about it a few times, but then I thought, no, I need to be able to do it myself. So usually what I do is I take a USB extension cable, one with a angled connector, so I can push just the plug-in. I push the USB plug into the flight controller, then I hold this in one hand while I'm holding the cord with the other, then I push the button and then I click the USB connection in to power it up. So, yeah, Travis, we still want to see it fly.
Okay, I got my radio set and ready to go, and I am going to attempt the three-handed wonder here. So I'm going to try the tweezer approach. See if I get the tweezers in just the right spot. All right, nope. Let's try the stylus from my radio.
Yeah, so let me give you a
This
little
is the
plug to the
pinnacle.
latest version of the Better FPV flight controller. I complained many times about this binding issue, and I said it would be so much easier if we could press the button after the thing is powered on. And guess what? In the latest edition, they actually did. So you power the thing on, and then you press the button for more than a second, and it goes into bind mode. Very simple. You don't need a wife to do that. Hey, baby, you want to push my bind button? Sean Dolan thinks
I've got
there's
a blinking red light.
nothing on
I
TV.
think it's happening.
What are you saying? It's happening? I heard a beep.
I think it's happening. We've got a. We don't really fly FR Sky that often. We've got a blinking red light. I think that's a good sign. So I think I just power cycle now.
JT says the full
Yeah,
speed
solid green.
DSMX.
Look at that.
So what? You're saying it's connected? Okay. Let's see it. I've never seen anyone flying live on the internet. So from my perspective,
let me don the appropriate headgear and switch my camera over to look at that. Do you see? Ooh, look at the Chinese writing on this. I wonder why that's still there.
what is that? Is that from your receiver or something?
Yeah, that's the little USB receiver that.
It's gone now. Oh, that sounds aggressive. Yeah, a loop-de-loop.
There it is. It flies.
Yeah, cool. It works. Very nice. My echo just said it didn't catch that. So, Tarkus X says ROG USB. He seems to know that thing that you're using, Travis.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. What is it? ROTG01. A pretty cool little device for the price, man. I was stoked to get it and set it up. Make something like this possible.
Cool. Seems to work. So, I'm gonna fly some more for us.
What I need to do is turn off all these ceiling fans in here. In Florida, being Florida in the heat.
Yeah, ceiling fans
Normally,
are challenge to fly.
Well, it's not so much the challenge. I mean, I would, with my own whoop, I would dive across the top of them while they're spinning full blast just for fun. But we're giving this away, and I don't want to kill it as a ceiling fan the first pack. So I don't think that's not going to make anybody's day.
All right. So,
I am afraid to switch back to. Let's warn me if static comes through, because I'm going to switch packs, and when I switch packs, we could end up getting the static off my FPV feed. We don't need a dual static night.
Well, let's see. At least then I can hear it and do something about it. So.
All right. So I'm going to switch back over to the FPV should be this.
Yep, I can
And I
see it,
hope
and I cannot hear it.
that is wonderful news. And then I am going to seek out a race mode flight. I want to fly a couple laps in race mode. I think that's one of the unique features of the Alien Book Zero. It's my particular favorite mode to race in. You actually tried it out a long time ago when I was working on some prototype code for race mode and messing with it in beta flight too. And
I did, yeah. So it's a quite unique mode, and I was yeah, actually flying this on a beta flight board, which you have provided me with a hacked firmware to do it. So it has rate mode on the pitch axis and angle mode on the roll axis, which it's yeah kind of a hybrid between rate and angle mode, and you can still go full tilt forward, but you have the ability to level out on the roll axis. This kind of reminded me of a flying wing, because that's sort of like a dihedral wing flies. It returns to center on the roll axis, but it doesn't on the pitch axis. So yeah, quite unique. You guys called it race mode, and yeah, I found also in terms of difficulty, it's somewhere between angle and rate mode. But yeah, in terms of crashing through the tree canopy, it almost provides the same challenges that I have with rate mode, and that is, as soon as you crash, you have a much harder time in catching the crash, and you end up somewhere on the bottom of the jungle a lot quicker. So yeah, that's still one of my main reasons to fly angle mode, that I just end up walking a lot less. But yeah, I think to fly on the track, race mode might be a ticket to go as fast as you can. So yeah, very nice, Travis. You got it to fly as well.
that whoop eye view. I've smushed up the Mohawk a little bit, so there's some tree crash damage. That's all that that's all that didn't survive the test flight.
What, it damaged
So
the Mohawk?
I beat on it pretty hard there. I smushed it a little bit, you know, but I use a flexible plastic for my canopies, and so they'll smoosh in a little bit and smoosh back out, and it's different than the other kind of hard plastic canopies that get brittle and crack, or that shatter. So mine are kind of Rubbermaid, if that's a brand you're familiar with, you know, to compare.
Okay. So yeah, you guys on the stream, you didn't see it, but I watched Travis just before the show to actually create the canopy somewhere on your noisy vacuum machine in the back there. So I had my own tries to vacuum form canopies, and yeah, didn't work out too well. So I might take up some lessons in the future, Travis, on how to do this, because yeah, yours worked really quickly, really nice, and the canopy looks awesome. I like the little Mohawk. It's not only looking cool, but it's also functional, because it keeps the camera lens from touching.
From taking a big hit. So
Exactly,
that's it.
so.
It fared pretty well.
So
Poop it right back up.
yeah. All right, I think that's it. We're already 21 minutes over today, against our promise to keep it on time. But yeah, that's what happens if you trying to whip out things live.
Win this whoop. Win this whoop. Comment one time.
So
good luck.
Comment once on the finished rendered videos, and you might score this one or this one here. So let's leave you with that, my friends. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks everyone for populating the various chat rooms. Thanks to you, Travis, for hanging out here and having fun with us again, and contributing your knowledge and your hardware to this. And yeah, as we said, comment on the finished rendered video, and we'll pick a winner either before or during the next show, and contact you for address to send you these little quads.
Yep. Happy holidays from Micromotor Warehouse and Alien Blue. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, happy holidays. Let me finish with a couple of, where did it go? Oh, here we go. With a couple of little sounds. So thanks a lot, Travis. Let's catch up in between shows and talk about what we're going to do next time. I think we're going to go back to transmitters next time. So yeah, I hope we can keep the giving season up and figure out something else we can give away during the next 3 Christmas shows. So leave it at that, and I will say,
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
see you all in the next one. That was over quicker than I thought. See you later.